Welcome to Two Floaties, One Wobbler, a monthly podcast for the North Carolina Melee scene. Each episode we discuss bracket upsets, players on the come-up, PR contenders, out-of-state travels, and whatever really fancies our interests. I'm Arun, aka Zent, and I have never gone 0-2 in brackets.
I'm Graham, aka Hi-Fi, and I lost to Sharks 20 times so that he could beat Toussaint at Big House 8.
And I am Sharks, Tyler, aka Sharks, and I got top 3 at an anime fighting game at at the Fall Classic, which
Was
is
that
pretty
a-
silly.
Was it Weeb Fighter 7?
It was not Weeb Fighter 7, but it was
that's my favorite
It's
one.
the closest thing to it.
Tyler's a real, he's a classics player. He only plays Wii Fighter 5.
That's right. I
I
don't
mean,
play
yeah,
with
Weeb-
that input lag of 6 and 7. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, Weeb Fighter 5 was definitely better, but 7 just has the support right now. and, you know.
Yes.
It also has lots more waifus, which is really what's important.
That's true. That's true.
Also, shoutouts to Colin for going to the Fall Classic, paying I don't even know how much entry fee was, but at least $60.
Expensive, yeah.
just to enter a 5-man Windjammers tournament. When
yeah.
Windjammers 2 is coming out, there's going to be Windjammers 2 locals. Just wait for one of those.
There is. But to be fair, his loss was respectable. He lost to the guy that got second in Guilty Gear and in Cross Tag. So he lost to an FGC big head. I don't know. Whatever.
I hope Windjammers 2 doesn't destroy the franchise, much like StarCraft 2 did. That's what I'm
I'm
scared.
pretty sure you'll be okay. Though the French might revolt.
I don't know if Windjammers 1 is really there to begin with right now, so...
Windjammers 1 is a classic.
Though I do have to give a shout out to Colin for cheering me on. But he came back the second day just to cheer me on. So super shout outs to him. Thank you.
Man, I wish someone would do that for me.
I'll fly back to NC one day, Graham.
Oh.
Anyway, on this episode, we have a lot of fun stuff to talk about. So we're going to interview Chi and recap the results of the most recent Arcadian. And then a Big House was this past weekend, so we're also going to talk about that.
Woohoo!
So yeah, I think everything's really fun to talk about this time. So let's go ahead and get to it.
This is the local results segment. This time we're going to talk about the most recent Arcadian, and we have with us Chi, who won. How are you doing, Chi?
I'm doing pretty good. How about you guys?
Doing all right.
Can't complain.
We're going to interview Chi about his tournament run, but first we're going to go over all of the results. So we're going to go pool by pool, kind of mentioning who was projected to get out and then who ended up getting out and any upsets along the way. To start off in Pool 1, and so these pools, I believe, are numbered by how the 1 seeds were seeded. So Pelipper was the first overall seed, so he was in Pool 1, and then she was the second overall seed, or the third overall seed in Pool 3, etc. So that's how this is going to go. We had Zephyrs over Pelipper in winners finals of that pool. Pretty big upset. Heartbreaker of a set. Pelipper had multiple opportunities to win it and just could not convert and kind of got foxed a few times. But Zephyrs played it really, really well, stayed cool under composure, and had a lot of good, those really intimidating waits that you do when you're really kind of feeling in control and you want to let your opponent do something dumb and then, as Fox running up smash them. But that was a pretty crazy set. Additionally, we had Mucho, who was the 3rd seed, Peach from Tennessee, drowned, losing to Zephyrs and DK Drew. And then in his place, DK Drew, who was the 5 seed, advanced. He lost to Zave or Zave. I still don't know what the correct pronunciation of that is. And beat Gylardia, EMB, Mucho, and then Ender to get out. In Pool 2, Prometheus beats Safe State in winners finals. Cannon, unfortunately, is not on Safe State's side on that one. And then we had Peaches beat Simon, and then Simon DQ'd almost immediately after that. So Peaches is a dock main. I don't remember exactly where he's from, but he moved here recently. And then in Simon's place, Giraffe advances, who is the 6th seed. He loses to Save State, but beats Baby Valentine, Nimbus, and Veli to get out. Pretty decent Falcon from the Triad area. And those are the first 2 pools.
Does
Other
anybody
race.
know why Simon dropped out, or why Simon dropped out after like? Did he just not want to play more, or?
Yeah, I think he was just really disheartened having lost. I don't know like how the set went or what the circumstances were, but I think um he felt like he just should have beat Peaches and has sort of had a reputation as being a low tier slayer for whatever reason. So losing to a Doc is kind of unfortunate there. But from what I understand, it was just sort of he didn't want to play it out.
I just want to say the tag Peaches annoys me for someone who doesn't actually main Peach.
I know, I don't like that either. I don't like when people have tags that are like name tags when it's not actually their name. And I keep seeing more and more of these. Like,
You want to give some examples?
I mean, Bobby Big Balls is the most prominent example. His name isn't Bobby. But there are a lot, like, I keep looking through Smash GG as tournaments happen, and I keep seeing someone whose tag is like some play on a name. Like Small Hands Brian, for instance, and then the dude's name isn't even Brian. I don't know. I don't like it. But
Anyway.
on to pool 3.
Yeah, so pool 3, Chi won, beating Simon Simmons. Sorry. We'll talk about that set later when we interview Chi. So Sway was a 3 seed and he drowned. He lost to Simmons and Swami. I assume he went Samus.
I think
I
he
guess
did.
that's been his shtick recently. And Swami advances, but he actually got upset by Tor round 2, I believe, of bracket. So pretty early on, actually, for a 2 seed. But then he made a loser's run, so he beat Zalfo, Sway, Space Fan the Pilgrim, and Tor again to make it out. I remember people were saying like pretty good things about him in the friendly, so I would still, even though he is out of state, I would still say that like this counts as a pretty big upset.
That was a huge upset. I mean, Swami was definitely the best out of state person at this Arcadian. So, but he got the run back, which is what counts.
Yeah, as long as you win from losers, it's fine. So pool 4, Lamb beat Papa Squad and Amarth Ditto. Big Truck beat Duck Dota. That set generated a lot of excitement. Like I was watching stream and I could hear people shouting about that set in the background.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
Boone definitely shows up for their players, and Big Truck's pretty good. I mean, I was impressed. Hassel definitely was the victim of his own nerves that set, but yeah, good stuff to Big Truck. Felt like he earned that too.
So yeah, despite the early upset, Hassel does advance after beating Vasculinity, Porridge, Reverend, and Will of God. I think we were having a discussion about tags like Will of God and Messenger of God, but maybe that's for another time. Okay, so then pool 5, Key beats Beef Tip to advance. I mean, Beef Tip's been a bit out of practice, but it's still a pretty good win because he does have a history of beating up GCS in the matchup.
Did you see that set? Like
yeah,
how?
I saw the end of game 1. That was
Yeah, that was rough. Beef Tip is on ledge, and Key runs up and charges Falcon down smash, and Beef Tip just jumps into it
Oh no.
to lose game 1. And then he wins game 2, and then the way he loses game 3 is to like triple knee or something like that. So it's a rough way to go out.
I feel like Beef Tip just has very unfortunate Arcadian exits in general. Like also
Yeah.
think about Arcadian 4 and a separate spin.
Yeah, he has a rough history in that regard. And then after that, Will he did keep playing, but he did not play Falco in losers. He was going to DQ, but I think people convinced him to just at least go secondaries if he didn't want to try. But this was similar to the Simon DQ in that he was really kind of just done after losing that set.
What's weird about that is that they struck to FD game 1, which is like totally out of. I guess like it's just not reasonable to me as like Falcon to strike to FD. Like if you know the Falco shoots, well, okay, Beef Tip does not shoot that much.
Well,
so
Falcon only has Yoshi's Fountain FD usually, because the
but,
Spacey will ban Battlefield.
What are you gonna do against Falco's laser on FD? Like,
I mean, it seems rough, but Key was making it look. Yeah, Key was making it look kind of easy at points to like get around that. Seems like it's tough to open Falco up, but if you do, then it's fairly easy to kill him.
Anyway, so then moving on to pool 6, Kakame beat Flair to make it on winners, which was technically an upset, but I think he was. I mean, we were talking about this, like even though I think Kak wasn't officially 1 seed, like he was still someone who we thought would go pretty far. So it's not too surprising as a result.
Yeah.
And then in losers, captain. Oh, I guess I forgot to mention. In pool 5, Blue made it out in losers. Beat. I guess he made it out of the Spacey's loser bracket, beating Tyro and Eddie. Again, nothing too surprising there. And then pool 6, Captain Planet makes it on losers. He lost to CAC, but then he beat Roma and Murdoch.
That was a tough pool.
And then on to the next pools. So in pool 7 in winners finals, we had IHOP Dan over Twisty. Did anyone get to watch that set? Anyone know how that went?
Oh yeah, that set was extremely part of the public interest. It was people were cheering like crazy. There were tons of flubs. Like it was just a totally wild set, and I think like IHOP Dan was down like a whole stock and a half the last game, and then he just clutched it. It was tight.
Sounds like an Arcadian set.
Yeah, it was a good Arcadian set.
Also in the same pool, Mojo advanced. He lost IHOP Dan, but won against Pants and Safety Man. So good on Mojo. Couple good tournament showings recently. In pool 8, Hot Mom beat Matt in winners finals. So Matt was in winners finals because I would say the upset of the tournament was earlier in that pool when he beat Adonis, which I don't think anyone saw coming.
No. Not even Matt. I don't think he even thought that could happen.
Some strange conditions happened during that set that Adonis wasn't prepared for. Not that none of this is a great excuse, but like apparently Matt was trying to have like a conversation with him, like straight up like asking him like how the wobble works or how the wobble setup works or something like that, and Adonis got tilted, and then yeah, that was.
That's something that actually comes up a decent amount, where some people will start talking to you during your set. I've done it to people. I've had people do it to me. Best thing to do against is just not talk, or just say, "I'll tell you after." I usually just say, "I'll tell you after," and people usually stop talking if that's the case.
I think my favorite strat is to wear headphones during the set, but still talk to my opponent, knowing they can't respond.
That's rough.
I think I pulled that on you a few times, Tyler. So
have you actually?
I think
that's awesome. And then more in that pool, Vianney did drown, losing to Hot Mom, Jack Adams, and Adonis. So he was the 2 seed in that pool, but he did not make it out. So another decent upset. I would have said some people probably thought Jack would have beat Vianney, but I don't know. Vianney was the 2 seed, so that's kind of an interesting set. But Adonis, even after losing to Matt, did advance. He beat Bups, Fields, Vianney, and Fatal. So Fatal did not make it out of that pool either. It's kind of a rough-looking pool.
Yeah, that one was pretty tough. And I mean, Vianney was talking about winning the tournament, so drowning in pools, not a great look in that regard. But losing to the 1 seed and the 3 seed is tough, especially when you get knocked into losers early and then you get eliminated by the person you felt like you should have played in winners finals.
Yes. And then, so that was actually the list of all the pools. Starting with top 24, some of the notable upsets would be DK Drew over Flair. I'm kind of glad we don't have Time Bones on here because I'm sure you'd have a few choice words about the matchup. But it actually is weird that DK, his matchup versus Marth is not the worst. It's kind of weird for Marth if Marth doesn't know.
Well, he forced
matchup.
Flair off Marth. Flair went
he?
Foxton too.
Interesting.
And also we also saw like DK do well. Hugs almost lost to a DK in pools at Big House. So
Rishi also 3-0'd who was it? One of the good Marth players, the one just outside top 100. But he 3-0'd him with DK.
Yeah. Oh, maybe DK's a good character.
Well, apparently he has the best DK on net play. Also in top 24, Dota over Doug Dota over Twisty. I didn't get to see that one. Did anyone know how that set went?
I think Hassel just kind of beat him.
It was like kind of out of sight of public. Like, were people watching?
Yeah,
that
no,
one?
I didn't see it. I saw the end of it because Twisty owed me money.
Actually,
I was gonna pounce on that.
Just an aside, like I don't get why anyone would ever bet on themselves winning the Arcadian, right? If you win, you make several $100s. Like making another 100 on top of that isn't gonna like feel that much better. Losing 100 if you get anything but first is gonna like feel terrible compared to not like losing anything.
I agree.
I don't know.
Wait, was his bet to win the Arcadian or to make a certain placing?
No, it was to win the Arcadian. I mean, the other thing is like, To bet on one player versus the field, regardless of whether it's yourself or not, is usually not a good bet because that means you have to have a bigger than 50% chance of winning the event,
Hmm.
like outright, which you have to be an insane favorite for that to be the case. I mean, even the top seeds at this event, I wouldn't have really given more than 20-25% just because of how many there are. So I don't know. Some people, I guess, maybe play better when they're hyping themselves up like that. I don't, so I can't relate to
Definitely
it.
do not.
But I don't know. Maybe it does something for people. So far, everyone I think who has ever declared that they are going to win the Arcadian hasn't
I
that I
think
that I know of.
Vianney actually came closest to Arcadian 4, I think, because he got like 5th, right?
He got fourth.
He got
Oh,
fourth,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's the closest anyone's ever come who's done that.
Yeah.
And then the last notable set of top 24 is the number 1 seed falling early in top 24 actually to Captain
First
Planet.
round.
Yeah, the first round of top 24 to Captain Planet. Definitely a rough loss. I'm sure that was something he. And the thing about about Pelipper is that he did the opposite, where he was not saying that he was going to win the Arcadian, but he still had all the people saying that he should win the Arcadian, which kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of people sort of knew that he would have some mentality issues going in, but I think
Mhm.
people were very surprised to see him go out that early.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's Falcon Peach, but he does play Simmons a lot. And Simmons and Captain Planet honestly are like pretty similarly skilled in my opinion. I did not see the actual set, but it was a 2-0. So I'm
I
not
think
sure.
Captain Planet also plays in a way that is like, I guess for lack of a better, really good against people who tilt. Like he's just
Yes.
so paid. He's like his whole game is just to sort of like wall you and like just outweight you. And like Pelipper, who's probably already tilted at that point, being in losers or like already feeling kind of defeatist, like, and his like mentality isn't that strong and whatever. Like he's just not in a good position to be able to beat Captain Planet. Like, dude, also because like Falcon Peach is actually kind of frustrating at this level.
Yeah, and that's a good point too. Is if you try to brute force your way into Nair in place from Falcon, it's not gonna work. So maybe that's what that was about. But uh, I might say that's the second biggest upset of the tournament. Actually, maybe Tor over Swami, but
Yeah, I could agree with that.
yeah. Anyway, top 8. So we just have all the top 8 sets listed here. Lamb 3-0'd Zephyrs. I don't think anyone was that surprised about this. Lamb has been the spacey slayer for sure. As much as I hate labels like that, he I believe is positive against every spacey, definitely every non-PR'd spacey.
He's even against. I think he's even against Hassel right now. They're 2-2.
Oh yeah, Hassel does kind of take sets off him, but I mean that's definitely the exception. So we had that. Then we had Chi 3-1 over Prometheus. We will talk about that when we interview Chi. But I know Prometheus doesn't like that matchup. He doesn't like Sheik, and he had a pocket Sheik that he used to like ditto Sheik sometimes. I think he didn't do it this tournament, and I don't think he's done it lately. But that was something we thought we might see. We had Adonis 3-0 Safe State. This was mostly Icy's Link. I think Safe State might have played Fox for a game, but he did not Icy Ditto him. We had IHOP Dan 3-1 over Kakame. Prometheus 3-0 over Adonis, which was pretty surprising to me because the last time they played at, I believe it was either Eclipse or Epoch. I get those two confused a lot. But Adonis 3-0'd Prometheus. It's some recent NC State tournament. So it swung the other way pretty hard. IHOP Dan 3-2 over Zephyrs. One of the better sets of the tournament, I thought. It was very back and forth.
Yeah, that's fun to watch.
Chi 3-0'd Lamb in winners finals. IHOP Dan 3-2 over Prometheus. So Dan had lost to Prometheus, I think, in the first round of top 24. And so then he gets the run back. That was a pretty good set too. There's a lot of good adaptation by Dan. Lamb 3-0'd IHOP Dan in losers finals. Again, Lamb's gonna kind of just destroy Spaceys. And then we had Chi over Lamb 3-1 in grand finals to win the tournament. So was this top 8 what we expected. I know we did a preview episode, but I don't remember who we said would get this far.
I think 3 of the people we listed, Chi, Prometheus, and Adonis are here, and I think everyone else.
Did we not pick Lamb?
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Joey
sorry.
Lamb.
4. Yeah. So Chi, Lamb, Adonis, Prometheus. I think we said those correctly.
We had mentioned Dan, I think, if I remember correctly, but
Yeah,
not like in our like featured top 8 segment, though. Of course.
Right.
Yeah, Dan was definitely the Cinderella run of the tournament.
Yeah. Dan and Zephyrs. I mean, Dan definitely went further. But Zephyrs with the upset on the 1 seed and ends up finishing 5th. Definitely a lot higher than I think anyone expected. We did not expect save state here, that's for sure. So that was a good showing from him.
He wasn't even in. Oh, sorry, he was in winners finals of his pool. Never mind.
Yeah. I think because Simon was in that pool, I believe. And so he kind of got a free ride to winners finals because he didn't have to play him. Kakame being there. Kakame was like just outside our actual top 8 list, so that was pretty reasonable too. But yeah, IHOP, Dan, and Zephyr is definitely the biggest surprises from this top 8. So we'll see what happens moving forward.
Oh, even though Adonis wasn't a surprise, I actually want to give a shout out to him because he grounded out all the way to he lost in winners round 1 of his pool and he made it all the way to top 8.
Right.
Actually, he was close. I mean, he was close to top 3 because he made it to losers quarters, right? So.
Yeah, so he ended up getting
matches.
5th, but that was he had to play a lot of sets, and that's really draining, especially after you lose to someone that you don't think you should have lost to, because that's kind of on your mind the whole time. But yeah, it was a good showing from him to bring it back despite a kind of rocky start.
I mean, he also made grands in teams too, and he had 3 hours of sleep or something like that. So just
that's nuts.
An insane run. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty amazing. So I don't know. I guess we'll see more from these players moving forward. A lot of good potential PR talent here, I think. The last Arcadian was a little unfortunate because of just sort of how people stopped playing after making that top 8. Like Bane and Clementine sort of don't go to anything anymore. Vianney never really went to anything in the first place. So a lot more kind of NC regulars in this top 8 that hopefully we continue to see improve and get better results. So now let's talk to Chi. And we have a few questions prepared, but if you guys think of anything in the meantime, absolutely feel free to chime in. So what did you do to prepare for this tournament?
Okay. What did I do to honestly, let's see. I it's really hard for me to answer this question because it's sort of far back, but I really don't think I did anything in particular to prepare for this tournament. In regular, I guess regular to what I normally do to prepare. I didn't, how do I say? So the easiest way to answer this question is to compare what I did last Arcadian. The last Arcadian, I went extremely hard on studying specific matchups I thought I would encounter. I remember doing a frequency table for the number back when we were using, it's not bracket, RPR. I tallied up the people in the top 80. So 80 possible players within NC that were Arcadian eligible. And I tallied up frequency wise, and I also assigned them individual skill scores, and then I looked at the number of people who all the mains that had the highest skill average, and I counted those, and then so I just focused my efforts that way. I also I think 2 months in advance I started thinking about how to prepare my mentality and sort of how I would treat the tournament and why it was really important to me. And I mean, I did well. I got 3rd place at the event, but compared to last time, this time I think I did a fraction of that. I think I just treated it like a normal tournament, thought about my current weaknesses and how I would like to go about solving or fixing them. Yeah, I mean,
so you really tried to think of it as just another tournament.
Yeah, pretty much. And I mean, part of that too is that I knew coming into it, or at least I felt coming into it, that I wasn't the absolute favorite. So I felt less pressure, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you feel on the day of the tournament about your chances to win or more generally do well?
Um, so I felt pretty good. I had okay sleep, and then I drove there, and I was immediately tilted because the traffic on 40/85 was trash.
Oh yeah, that's right. I
That
remember
was
that.
absolutely like, and I actually seriously think that set me off course a little bit. And so when I got to the venue, I started playing friendlies with Alex, I think, to warm up, and that Alex is somebody who knows me really well, so it was just like, and I mean, like in friendlies, like the goal isn't to win, obviously, but like if you're playing warm up, like you'd like to build some confidence by like at least feeling like you're in control, and it just didn't feel like I was in control at all. So like, and also I was not playing very well in teams. Like me and Roma had to like go to game 3 against lots of teams that we were seated above. So it was just like, and Roma was definitely playing amazing. So I just felt not very confident about my chances to win. And thankfully I'm experienced enough to like keep trying my best and to like just try my best to focus in spite of that. But I think all the way up until I got out of my pool, I didn't feel like I had a great chance to win.
Hmm. Okay. So I guess on that note, I forget who you played in winners semis of your pool. Oh, you played Spaceman, right?
Yeah, I
The
played
Fox player
Spaceman.
from South Carolina. Um, any
Yeah.
thoughts about that?
He clearly had never played a Sheik that knew how to do anything that I do. Like he I think I'm trying to think. I actually thought that Spooky was a harder set for me because I had come in.
Oh wow.
I played Spooky with zero warm up, and he actually got some really great combos on me. But and so I was like, oh man, like he has momentum. This is going to be a serious problem. Like I was just sort of ready to like autopilot and like
Right, right.
feel a flow, and it just didn't happen. And then I played Spaceman, and like he was just so underwhelming.
I mean, I guess South Carolina doesn't have any sheiks that I'm aware of,
Oh, not at all. Yeah.
so that might be part of it. Um, all right, so you beat him, and then you play Simmons in winners finals. Falcon historically a matchup that I think you've struggled with, but have done some work on and done better with lately. So that was a pretty close set if I recall. It was game 3. I don't remember if game 3 was close or not, but I do remember the set in general kind of going back and forth.
Yeah, it was a very back and forth set. I was really nervous playing him. He has Sheik experience because he played Jay Willie when Jay Willie lived in Nashville, and Falcon was the one matchup that the thing I think the most specific thing I did to prepare for the tournament was study ices because there's like a huge legion of them in the mid level.
Yeah.
So I was just like, okay, well, like the most efficient way and the most satisfying way for me to prepare right now is to just work on ices. And I was like, I'll just take the risk of because I mean all the other characters I feel like I have a decent punish game on, and like nobody else really plays a Sheik that's like me regularly. So and especially not Simmons because again Jack's not there. Period, and Jack also plays very different from me.
Yeah.
So it's just like okay, well I'll just take the risk, and um, so I was extremely nervous against Simmons, and it really shows because when you watch me play, like his main strategy was to zone me out with Bear and then sort of try to get me to lunge, and it worked. It actually worked extremely well. He just happened to not know how to edge guard Sheik, and I also happened to like have pretty good punishes on that day. So,
Mm.
um, I think I actually watched that set today, and really like he had a really good chance of beating me if he had just converted on his edge guards, to be honest. And I thankfully I scraped by. I also 0 to deathed him the first stock of game 3, and I almost 0 to death in the second stock also. So it's just like I had a 2 stock buffer. So no matter how nervous I was game 3, it was probably going to go pretty well.
Yeah. I remember those combos being really sick, actually. All right, so you get through him, and then in the first round of bracket, you have to play Kakame. So you do get one of the ices.
Right. Okay. So something really, really, really important happens between winners finals of my pool and bracket, and this is actually probably where my preparation kicked in the most. So in preparing for the tournament, I was like, okay, I thought that I so Drug Fox had been over like a week or two before, if I remember
Mhm.
correctly, the Arcadian. And something that happened when I played him was that I noticed that if I just focused on playing the interaction at hand and sort of trusting my instincts more, the games like went way better than you might think based on our skills. And we were playing I think we played like almost 4 hours like every night. Like we would just like sit there 10 p.m. and we'd go until 2 a.m. and I would play as Falco's. I think mostly as Falco and like sometimes as Ices and also as Sheik. But just like I was just and so going into the tournament I was like, okay, like I need to be able to play more instinctively. And all the way up until winners finals, after winners finals, I was like, I wasn't even doing any of that. So then I took a break and I went to go have food outside of the venue. I was like, okay, like what is it that I'm not doing? Like, what do I have written down for myself? Like, what did I want to accomplish at this tournament? Like, regardless of my result, what do I want to see for myself moving forward in terms of my gameplay? And I saw that I had written down, like, hey, you should try playing more instinctively. Like, you should try playing more quickly and trusting yourself and not thinking so much about the situations because you practice them a lot and you're like clearly pretty capable. I've been at the honorable mention level for like the better part of 2 years. So it's not a question of ability; it's a question of execution.
Right.
That was some advice that you gave me at Big House.
Yeah,
We were, yeah.
Having that positive experience at the Arcadian, that's why I gave you that advice.
Yeah, I like that too. By the way, I meant to mention that was really helpful. I'll probably hit on that a little bit later in the next segment.
Yeah, thank you. So I guess
you reminded of this in between your pool and then top 24.
Right. And so at that point I was like, okay, so now I need some way to kind of push myself to do that. And I resolved to warm up differently than what I normally do. Normally when I warm up I just play like as hard as I can, like and just sort of worry about the rest later. But this time around I was really intentional about how I warmed up. I was like, okay, first I'm just gonna think really hard for like 3 or 4 friendlies.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I think really hard, I'm just going to do my best to play with instinct from there. And so I also played against people that I knew would push me. So I think I picked Alex first, actually, because I'd warmed up against him from at the beginning of the tournament. And so it was an easy way to see whether or not I was doing the model correctly. So the first 3 or 4 friendlies, I'm thinking really hard and I'm trying to be like, okay, like here's the different strategies I should be doing. Like this is the kind of situation that comes up a lot. Oh, okay, like this is a mix-up, like that's a mix-up. Oh, I didn't edge guard well here. And then after 4 friendlies, I remember thinking, okay, like turn your brain off, just play faster, try to treat situations as they come, and like don't worry about all the minutiae or whatever. And that worked extremely well. I felt extremely comfortable like the 10-15 minutes in the set before CAC, and the only thing I had to do was just play against the CPU and like review positions, like think about common scenarios, like run off fair versus shield drop fair versus go to the top platform. Like just like simplifying the different tactics that I might use. And so I went into the set against CAC and I played, I think I don't think I played amazing because at that point I think I'd been up for 12 hours, maybe 12 hours, and I'd gotten to like top 3 of doubles. So I'd been up for a while at that point, and I was also playing against these, and I'm not very practiced with that matchup, but again, I thought I executed my strategy fairly well, and it really showed. Like I killed Nana pretty quickly. Like I kept him in the corner pretty well. I think I remember talking to Tyler about it, and he said he really liked my ground game in that match, in that set.
Yes.
Yeah, and so I think like the first game was under. Now, admittedly, I think Payton didn't play very well, and that was really unfortunate because I think he received some outside stimulus that he wasn't used to in the form of caffeine gum.
Yeah.
Which is a shame because I was really looking forward to, because he looked really prepared and he almost had a comeback on me, but he just dropped all his wobbles. But just like I kept him in the corner really well. I had a good separation strategy. I didn't use unnecessary needles. I didn't try to attack him incessantly. I don't know. It just felt really comfortable, and I think, having won that set, not only did I feel confident in my icy strategy, but I also felt confident in the preparation strategy that I had laid out for myself between pools and bracket, and that was extremely important.
All right, so you get through Kakame, and then you got to play Prometheus, who a lot of people were talking about as a candidate to win the tournament. I don't remember if you had played him before. but what was that set like?
The only other time I played him was at Everybody Loves Peyton, and I didn't remember very much about that set. So, and I remember thinking before the Arcadian that like the most important thing against Ganon, actually you had told me this also, the most important thing against Ganon is just to learn how to edgeguard him. So
Yes.
I think I spent most of my friendlies against Black Chris figuring out how to edgeguard Ganon, like a consistent strategy. And I didn't do all of it, but just like being able to beat up a Ganon was really helpful. And of course I used my model again. Like I spent a lot of friendlies thinking. I spent more friendlies thinking this time around because I like was less familiar with Ganon. And I also like reviewed some. I mean, like Chris is a very different type of Ganon from Prometheus, but he still has knowledge. So he went and he was rooting for me to win. So like we went over a lot of specific situations that we thought might come up. Like I decided that it's probably a better idea to not jump as much because that's how Ganon like that's the only position that Ganon could possibly have a mobility advantage, like with a read.
Mm-hmm.
And then we decided that like I should needle more. So just like small things like that, and so against Prometheus, I just had a really basic strategy, and I tried not to let him reversal me a lot because I think Ganon also preys on people making mistakes, especially at this level. So I was like, okay, like in a situation where I could make a risky read versus staying more safe, just take the more safe option, just hold the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so game one, I remember the set pretty well. Game one, I went almost down really early, and then he let me reversal. And then the rest of the game from there was just me like reading the fact that like he would just full jump a lot or like try to come at me from farther away, and like really aggressively with his forward air. So I just kept intercepting him, and then he took me to Yoshi's, and I was kind of nervous because like, okay, well, I could die at any time. Like that's exactly how that stage works. I could explode, and then I almost four stalked him. So it's just like, okay, well, whatever. Like I guess it worked out. And the thing about Yoshi's too is that my punish game was insane on that stage. I think I almost zeroed to death from basically like all
I
the
mean, that's the
opportunities I
thing
got.
with Ganon on that stage. Like, yeah, he just needs 3 fairs to kill you, but he's a character that's not very good when he's being pressured. And on Yoshi's, because there's not a lot of space, like if you win neutral once, you can kind of set up for that where he doesn't have a lot of options to get out of you just continuing to hit him until he's high enough percent that he gets launched.
Yeah. So and then game three, he took me to Battlefield, and I got my own head a little bit at this game. I was like, oh, okay, like I totally wasn't prepared to be up two. So I was like, okay, well maybe I should just play as I was doing before. And he punished a little harder. I didn't remember any significant neutral adaptations that I felt happened. Like he just punished a little harder, and so then he wins that game. And then game four, I remember that he struck FD first. And I had the benefit of 2 games. So I was like, okay, well, let's just try FD initially, and let's just see how it works. Like and I'm also like I'm quite good on FD as a player. I feel relative to other Sheiks. Like it's because it's the stage I learn all matchups on first. So so I was like, okay, let's pick FD. He struck it first. He doesn't seem comfortable on here. Like here's the basics. Like his chain grab is definitely more deadly on that stage, but it's also the fact that he has a way harder time in neutral, and he has a way less potent recovery because he can't go to platforms.
Right.
And so I edge guarded terribly that game, but it turns out that Sheik's chain grab is really good, and it turns out that if Ganon can't land on platforms, he can't land. So I think I won that game with a 2-stock, and I was not ecstatic, but I was just pretty happy that I made it through that hurdle and had gone to winners finals.
For sure. And then finally, you played Lamb in winners finals, grand finals. They kind of all blurred together for me personally, but I just recall you really doing some crazy stuff. Maybe it's because I was just really hype in the moment, but it looked really dominant. I mean, did you feel otherwise?
I felt like so when I was playing those sets, I felt like my neutral was on another level. Like I'd never been I talk with PP about this a lot. Like there's like I mean, and I'm sure everybody's kind of familiar, but like when you watch high level players, like what happens is that they're all facets of their game plan really flow into one another. So like for example, top players are really good at transitioning from juggles to edge guards. and like they're like good at forcing you from being in the air to being in the corner, and like that's something I felt happen against Lamb, for example. Or like I would like be on the ground and he would take his limited neutral situation because he didn't want to, directly face my punish. But then I was already prepared like with a mix up, and I would have him on the side platform, and he would feel really pressured, and he would do something, and he would like, and I just felt like I had a really good read the whole time. So I didn't even think I was necessarily in the zone. I just felt like I played to the best of my ability, like given the conditions also, like in neutral. And the conditions being that at that point in time I had been up for 16 hours, I'd gotten top 3 in teams, I'd had probably less than 1,500 calories the whole day.
Yeah.
And I was like running on fumes at that point.
Right.
So yeah, in winners finals I felt extremely, I didn't expect to 3-0 him. And I was also sort of surprised because normally he does really well on FOD against me, and he didn't pick that in winners finals at all, and so he took me to Yoshi's twice. Even though the first Yoshi's game that we went to, it was actually pretty decidedly in my favor. But on the flip side of having good neutral, my punishes were just not there. Like I'm normally quite good at punishing Marth. Like Lamb doesn't pick FD against me because I punish him harder than he punishes me, and but my punish, like I would just like throw him and do like 1 tilt's worth of damage. It was like 16 damage at most when she can like guaranteed get 30 in most situations into a strong mix up. So I was but I noticed that while I was playing, and I didn't really let it phase me. So I'm really proud of that.
Yeah, you seemed very composed. At least just from my perspective watching in the audience. So then how did it feel when you actually won the tournament in the moment?
It didn't hit me. Like I was just like, oh, I won.
You did the Mewtwo King thing?
Yeah, like it just like I jokingly did. God, like saying this just sounds so stupid. Like I just like let myself have like a very small pop off, and then I was like, okay, I'm done. And then we went to IHOP.
Yeah, that's
and then we went to
IHOP story.
That's a whole other story.
Oh God. Do you have any advice to aspiring Arcadian winners?
So I guess I'll start from the easiest one, or like the one that's most like from most accessible to least accessible, or like most broadly applicable to least broadly applicable. I think it's really important to treat the Arcadian seriously. I know I said I didn't do anything in particular to prepare, but that was because the last year I'd done I had already found a way to prepare that made me feel really comfortable. But like treating it seriously is really important, because there's very few chances that lower level players get like this in terms of overall like attention, overall pressure, the parity of the tournament, and even down to the atmosphere. Like the Arcadian, I think, feels very different on the day of and than most tournaments, especially as somebody like as an Arcadian, because most people have like this way wider of a field in terms of like people able to win. So pretty much everybody, I would say, like treat it seriously, like set goals, think about kind of the things that you would like to see from yourself, win or lose. Think about basically any situation possible in terms of like the actual day of proceedings. Like what happens if you're not feeling very physically comfortable, or what happens if there's a really large crowd, or what happens if you're down a game to somebody you didn't expect to be down to, or what happens when you're up a game against somebody you didn't expect to be up against. Like stuff like that. Really just be as specific as possible and invest a lot of effort and time into it. And the Arcadian sort of bears fruit for you as a competitor, like both in the short term and the long term.
I think that's a good way to look at it. Any final?
I mean, I have some more advice, and then like moving on to like people who are a little more skilled, like I think something that helped my mindset was to just think about the fact that there's lots of people who are able to win. So it's not about playing perfectly, it's about playing the best you can. A lot of the time I think it's really easy in the Arcadian, like especially if you're a favorite at the Arcadian, to get in your own head and be like, oh well, I'm expected to win, or I have a really good shot of winning XYZ set. But just because of how the Arcadian is, like, you're not special. Like you lots of people could win, and even small plays could people like lots of unpredictable things can happen at the Arcadian. So rather than kind of being really all or nothing about every situation, your mindset should be, okay, this is something that could have happened, and it's up to me to rectify that. And I think that applies to general sets also, right? Like if you're playing in a regular tournament, that's an important skill. But at the Arcadian, because of just the atmosphere, like I said before, like that's something that could matter. Like you could easily tilt, and then the other guy could get momentum, and then you start feeling like, oh no, like I had a really good shot to win this, and now I'm like behind or whatever. Like so learning how to not let mistakes or unexpected situations tilt you as somebody who's a favorite is important. And I think Pelipper maybe didn't prepare for that. But that's just a guess.
I mean, it's a tough thing to be in a good place mentally about, but I think everything you said is pretty spot on. And in the sense at an event like this, it's hard to be the favorite just because like you're the favorite, but the skill gap really isn't that big from like kind of the tier 2 Arcadian players versus the top seeds.
Oh, for sure. I mean, like, again, Pelipper lost to Captain Planet and Adonis lost to Matt. Like, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's just upsets like that are going to happen.
Yeah, and the specific, I guess, if you make it to grand finals, I think, especially if you're in winner's side, the specific advice or, like, thoughts I would give is, I tried really hard to work against this, but ultimately it ended up coming through. Like, you need to treat grand finals as a totally different set, or like or at least like you can't be complacent about it. Like it's easy for you to slack off, and it's easy for you to be like, oh, okay, like I have a whole set to burn, or it's easy for you to even treat it seriously but not have any specifics in mind. But like going into grand finals, you need to treat it as much like another set as possible and be like, okay, here's the things I want to do well this set. Here's the things that I expect. Here's how I want XYZ situations to play out. Because I think, I mean, again, part of it was the conditions of the tournament. It had been going on for so long, and I was running on fumes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think, like, truly, the first set of grand finals, I wasn't in as good of shape as I was in winners finals. And I think having a better mentality or, like, mentally preparing better could have easily circumvented that. And I could have played even better in grands rather than, like, about the same or worse.
Mm. All right. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you want to say? Anyone you want to shout out?
I wrote I mean, I'm trying to look at my journal now. I keep meticulous notes, and I'm trying to look at my journal in terms of the Arcadian. I mean, we didn't talk about teams at all, but I'm so happy to have made third in teams. Like, big shout out to my boy Roma. Like, I don't know. It's just, of course, I wanted to win, so I was disappointed, but like, I just felt like Roma and I had spent a really long time trying to find our strategy and find our synergy as teammates, and sort of, I mean, Roma, like, he's my first static teammate, and Roma's also much more used to teaming with Fox or Luigi in a static setting. So for us to sort of spend a whole month struggling in terms of results, then go to the Arcadian and get third felt really good to me, especially because a lot of the times we went to game 3 in the sets. And I mean, in winners finals, we almost reversed 3-0'd, which was incredible. And like, I was just so happy to and it motivated me to work on teams even harder because, I mean, of course, again, I wanted to win. But shout out to everybody who supported me. I wasn't expecting any support, and I was fully prepared to have the crowd against me, and it was gratifying to see lots of people cheer for me and lots of people pay attention to my sets. I'd like to give shout outs to Key and Peyton and Adonis, I guess, also. Like, those 3 players worked really, really, really hard. Like, I don't know, I was inspired in part to push really hard by the fact that other people were treating this really seriously. And I think seeing and hearing that those 3 people were pushing incredibly hard to win made me kind of redouble on my efforts. And it's a shame that he had a panic attack and didn't manage to perform to his liking. But I know he'll come back stronger as a competitor. Same with CAC, like who didn't feel like he played his best, but I'm confident he'll come back and perform even better at future tournaments. And yeah, so I guess like in summary, so this is what I had in summary in terms of my journal entry. Like here's the things I learned from this tournament, and I hope other people might benefit from this. So like I learned how to mentally prepare before events. Like and for me specifically, it was about learning how to channel emotion and motivation in any way possible and being mindful of the relationship between like my actual physical body and my emotions. I learned how to warm up like during tournaments by spending a few games thinking, then a few games playing by instinct. I learned how to manage my energy. Timing food worked out really well during this tournament. I have a breathing routine that I do between sets. That's a little kind of voodoo, but if people want to ask about that, I'm more than happy to answer. And finally, I also learned how to bounce back from lots of setbacks, like losing a game to Simmons or being down the first shot against CAC. Like I just said, like, oh, don't dwell on critical things. Focus on things that I'm executing well and things that I've been working on trying to implement. So, yeah, that's about all I have for my Arcadian report. Sharks and Arun, do you guys have any questions?
What do you do with the money?
I spent it all on bills.
Very
Okay,
nice. I
good
respect
answer.
that.
I spent it all. Well, I like put some of the money aside to treat my wife and I to our anniversary thing.
Aw.
But other than that, like I put it all towards paying for lawn care, paying for my dryer to be repaired, adult shit.
Yeah.
Hey, at least you had to pay out of pocket though this time.
Yeah, right.
Just feels
Yeah,
good.
no, it felt good to not have to spend salary money on my bills.
So technically you haven't spent it yet because you still have that extra money from your salary.
Yeah, right.
So technically.
Also, anytime like you and Roma had lots of sets where it was really close, like a game would be really close, then Roma would just like laser off the stage and die. Did you die a little bit on the inside every time that happened, or?
No, I mean that's sort of what comes with teaming with Roma. I feel
Yeah,
like
no.
3
I'm
stocks.
sorry.
I mean, but we were working on that a lot. I mean, I don't know. The other great thing about teaming with Roma for this tournament is that we finally have VODs. Like I think we went 4 tournaments or something like that teaming without having a single video. And it's just like it's just so hard to improve, especially in teams when you don't have recorded footage. So
Yeah, I'm sorry, Roma. I just had to.
I'm sure he doesn't mind.
That's it for me.
Yeah, Sharks. Tyler, do you have any questions?
I think y'all there was a couple questions I had during it, but then y'all covered it almost instantly. So I think y'all did a great job.
All right. Well, Chi, thank you for being on, and congratulations again for winning the 5th NC Melee Arcadian.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited for the next one.
Yeah,
'cause
now
then
you
I
get
can
to
do
just
commentary.
yeah, you just get to watch next time. It's fun.
Yeah. I'm sure, and I'm sure like I'll be able to support and help a new wave of players to warm up and get ready for their sets, and that'll be a whole different experience in and of itself. So, well, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for coming
It
on.
was our pleasure.
This is the random discussion segment. Here we delve into topics relevant to North Carolina Melee. This episode, we're going to discuss Big House 8. Who from NC went to Big House to start off? It was me, Tylenol, Hi-Fi, Roma, and Time Bones.
Don't forget Gato.
Gato, as well as let's see.
Coconut Man was there,
Coconut Man.
but he missed his pool.
Oh, did he really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, unfortunately. It's something about like he got there, like he couldn't pick up his badge or something.
And Hennessy was also there. No, I'm not.
Yes.
Does he go by that tag still? Is that still his tag?
I believe so.
Okay, I wasn't sure. Was that
And
it?
Osmix.
Osmix, that's right.
Osmix.
Osmix.
I did see some dude there who I have seen at NC tournaments before. I don't know if he's like a student or something. I want to say his tag is exposed, but I'm not 100% sure. But I had definitely seen him at NC locals, but didn't know anything else about him, so it felt weird going up to him, so I did not do it. But that was the main contingent that you listed.
The first list, well, I'll put it this way: of those that went, the people who made it out of pools the first day would be me, you, and Tylenol.
And Roma.
And Roma, that's right. Roma didn't make it out there. Yeah, so I guess we'll start with Roma.
Okay.
He got in day 2. He made it day 2, so he got 193rd place. Beat Jubei, lost to Icy and Vu. I don't know if I'm too familiar with Jubei. Does anyone else know who that is other than a character in Blaze Blue?
No clue.
I have no idea.
No, I wasn't sure either. Okay. I didn't get to see any of Roma's sets, unfortunately. He was pretty much playing at a time that someone else, I was playing or someone else was playing at the same time, so I didn't get to watch many of his matches.
I didn't either. I just heard he got out of pools, and I
Yeah.
was really hyped for him because he was definitely not seeded to do so.
That's cool.
This is,
Yeah.
this is first time making it out of pools at a major.
I don't know. Actually, it's a good question.
Well, if it is, congrats. If not, I'm sorry.
Well, I mean, still, getting out of pools at Big House is no small deal, so that's pretty good. And then we had Graham, Hi-Fi, who made it out, got 129th, beat Pebbles and Jank, lost to Vanitas and Hostelgado, who is Two Saints' training partner. So you had some interesting Icy matchups, or Puff matchups. One versus Icy's, one versus Falco.
Yeah, so I lost to, is it Vanitas or
Vanitas.
Vanitas?
I think it's
Vanitas.
Vanitas? Isn't
Is
it like a Latin
Vanitas?
word?
Is it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it's like a
it
Latin word,
probably
though.
is Vanitas.
I don't know, but he was pretty good, and I did not play very well. I just like dropped a lot of nana kills. I was pretty nervous. And he let me strike to Battlefield, which initially, when Ices do that, I'm like, yes, they don't know what they're doing. And then he like kind of top platform camped me, and I was like, oh no, he wanted to go here.
I'm so sorry, but that's actually hilarious.
How did he
Yeah.
do that? I didn't get to see the first game.
He just like went to top platform a lot, and I was like,
but you,
okay.
But you have an like disjointed up air. I'm surprised he was able to do
yeah,
that.
but to like get to top platform on Battlefield, you kind of have to set that up.
Okay, understand.
So when
that.
he's like on side plat, right? And I'm thinking, okay, he's gonna shield drop or wave dash off, and I'm kind of covering those options, and then I swing and he's jumping to top platform. And it's not like he got a lot off of it, but it was like really safe for him to do that.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So I was not expecting that at all. I took him to Fountain, which I don't really like anymore, but he had struck it. And so I just figured, well, I'm not going back to Battlefield, and he banned Dreamland, so I guess we'll try this and see how it goes. And then I lost on Stadium, and I just kind of felt like I was behind the whole time and couldn't really generate any advantage. Yeah, that's probably my worst matchup at this point is Ices. So I thought I could beat him, but I wasn't really going to be that surprised if I lost because I knew he was good and had beaten Two Saint last year. So I was kind of disappointed there. To get out, I played a Puff Ditto, and I 3-stocked him game 1, and I almost got a Gimp at 0%. I was so close to getting a legit edge guard. I like back threw him off, bared 2 of his jumps, down smashed him at the ledge, and then wave dash grabbed the ledge, and he like barely was able to air dodge back on.
Yeah, there was the guy that was watching Masami said he had never seen a Puff edge guard another Puff like that before. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, if that had happened, I would have been so hype about it. But he like spent a lot of time trying to pick another character and settled on Falco, and then got 4-stocked.
Oh man, that was rough. I mean, you just demolished that guy.
So it was weird being like when there's skill gaps in pools like that, where it's like, oh, the 3 seed is someone I lost to, and then I guess this guy was the 4 seed, or the 5 seed was someone I 7-stocked. So it's kind of weird. Day 2, I played Jank, who was another Puff. I won game 1 barely. He won game 2, and then game 3 was pretty close. I definitely underestimated him. I didn't think he would be as good as he was. Just having a really hard time like hitting him at all. He was usually what happens is I'm good enough about like, all right, if this guy just wants to bear in the corner, I'll let him do that and just take center. But he was aware of like not letting himself get cornered like that, and then when he did get cornered, not doing anything super risky. I was still not playing great, and he got me with a lot of mix-ups that I should have been able to react to, but didn't. So I very easily could have lost that. It was a close set. And then I played Hostel Gatto, who I didn't know he was Toussaint's training partner, but he was a Falco. He was very dedicated to running away and lasering, and it worked very well. He made a comeback game 1.
Yeah, that really hurt.
That was rough. Game 2, I finally decided at the end, hey, he's going to full hop, so I'm going to up air. And I got a rest off that. I don't know why I didn't do more of that. And then game 3, I think I was just kind of mentally defeated, where I was like, I just have to chase this guy all over the place, and I'm not doing a very good job of it. And it just feels like I'm only getting anything when he messes up. And like to play honestly is just like I'm just losing, which is not how you have to think of Puff, because she's not an honest character and never will be. So, apparently Falco and Ices are my worst matchups because that's who I always lose to out of state. So I was pretty disappointed in how I did, but I do feel like the people I lost to just like outplayed me. So I guess I just have to keep working on those matchups.
Funny how Falco seems to be a prevalent bad matchup for most of NC's top players.
I know, right?
Interesting. And then next highest placing is Tano at a very respectable 65th place. In the first day, he lost to Mike Hayes in the winners finals of his pool, so he made it out in losers. Had a pretty good run, including beating Big Kid, who is a New York Puff main who goes to every single event I've ever been to in my entire life. I think we mentioned that at the last MatchCon one.
You can now 0-2 against NC players out of state.
Is that true? Interesting.
Wow.
I don't think I've played against them yet. I'll have to do next time. And then he, for 60, or to make it to day 3, he had to play Cobb, which that was actually a great set. Went to last game, last stock, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, I did go to last stock. Yep. A very close game, but he just Cobb just clutched it out. Cobb like barely had a lead most of the game, or at least near the end, and Tanal just could not quite finish it off. It was so close, though. Yeah. It was a great set.
He almost made not a huge comeback, but a comeback from being behind the entirety of game 3. But it was a fun set to watch. That's a tough pull to make it to.
It is.
Top
and I was thinking, I was actually really impressed with the way he played that matchup, considering we don't have much peach practice around here anymore. So I wasn't sure how that was going to go. But when he took game 2, I was like, okay, we've really got a set here. He looked like he was playing solid. His wave dash up smash, or his wave shine up smashes are really on point. They win a go win, they win a drill. Overall, I thought he played really well.
And then we have you.
Yay. I got 33rd at this tournament, which I was very happy about. My goal was to make it to day 3, which I did not last year. Pretty heartbreaking. So I kind of had a lot of pressure on myself this tournament. First, day 1, Ringler was actually the 2, or I guess technically the 4th seed in my pool, who I had to play to get out to make it in winners. Not a pretty easy pool for me, but I was like, yeah, DK Ices is pretty free. I like this matchup a lot in PM, where DK's a lot better. I never really played it that much in Melee, but I wasn't too worried. But always get the pre-tourney jitters, so I asked Alec to sit down with me and play Donkey Kong. So we were playing, and he was doing pretty well. And I'm like, okay, this matchup's kind of weird. Apparently, when Donkey Kong Cargo throws Popo, you still cannot move with Nana at all, which sucks. So I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, this really hurts. And it's actually very difficult to chase Donkey Kong when he's holding Nana, because he's moving so fast. I don't really have time to catch up with him. You had to react very quickly.
So he can just grab Nana and like run away.
Yeah,
from
just
you?
jump up, and it was pretty hard to deal with it via platforms.
That's really funny.
Yeah, it was pretty silly, and he has some really good Nana kills, but you of course had to be pretty good with them. And so we're sitting there playing, and Rishi comes up, and he's like, "Yo, Sharks, let's play some friendlies." And I'm like, "I would love to, but kind of want to get ready for DK." And he's like, "Well, that's very interesting, because I actually have the #1 DK on net play. Let's play." And
Of
so
course he does.
so I sit down with him, and he like two stocks me the first game, and I'm like, Rishi, I'm gonna lose to DK in pools. Like, this is awful. But then I think I beat him the next couple games, and that was all I got to play against him. And then I played Ringler and 2-0'd him, and Ringler's DK is not nearly as good as Rishi's. Just to throw that out there, Rishi,
Well, I mean, it's
he's
the
is
number
much
one
better.
DK on net play,
Yeah, I
so.
guess so. So that was pretty funny that he had a net play or a DK, and I saw him on Twitter bragging about it all weekend, which was pretty funny. So that was day one. It was pretty easy for me. But day two, I had a really rough-looking bracket. I wasn't sure how it was going to pan out, but I had Cal to start off immediately. I warmed up with Quang, who was a Fox ICs from Michigan. He has a very, very, very good Fox against ICs because he knows them so well. So I played against him a lot, felt really confident going in, played Cal, and he 3-stocks me the first game. I felt like I couldn't move, and I was like, well, this is over. It felt very much like when I played Slox at Gommel, where I just could not control my character. I felt awful.
Yeah.
And then game 2 and 3, I just kind of won. I'm not really sure what happened. I don't know what changed. I just kind of won. I think Cal got in his own head a little bit.
I
Cal
think it's
does.
the thing that she talked about with like just trusting, like not overthinking what you're doing and just
Yeah.
trusting your training essentially.
Mhm. Yeah, I didn't feel like I was going into game 2 any differently. I just remember thinking I don't want to play like I don't have any control. Like I was like, I'm probably going to lose, but I want to lose playing like I know I can. So I didn't play. I feel like I actually played probably less nervous because of that, because I didn't really have anything to lose. So I beat him. I was really, really happy about that. And then I had to play Hungry Box next. So everyone has a Hungry Box story, right? So mine was I sit down with Hungry Box and say, hey, how's it going? He says, I strike FD. There's no rock, paper, scissors, no introduction, just I strike FD. Said, okay. And he destroys me game 1, and he says, I strike FD. He destroys me game 2 on Yoshi's, and that was our entire interaction. It's like, well, that's pretty good.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, sounds about right. So he whopped me. I think it was double 3-stock, right? He's just so good. You can't, like, it feels like it's doable at first, and then he becomes untouchable. It's just like you can't really hit him in a meaningful way. It was weird.
I think you described him as like me, but perfect.
Yeah, that's exactly how I described it. It was like you,
Oh.
but perfect. I didn't mean that, and I didn't mean that in any sort of disrespectful way. I just felt like I was like, I know what he's going to do, and I understand why. I just can't beat it.
I will absolutely take it.
So
yeah, I was watching that because I'm obviously very interested.
yeah,
And that's the matchup I think out of all of the ones in the game that I would want to see the most, to be honest.
What did you think watching it? Did you have any thoughts like, oh, I wasn't doing this, or oh, this beats that, or?
Well, the only thing I noticed that I turned to Colin and I go, he would never miss that against me. Was that situation where like he tomahawks behind you and grabs and up throws one of them. And whenever I up throw Nana, you always bear me with Sopo or spot dodge down smash or spot dodge turnaround grab or something.
What did I do?
Like every single nothing.
I did nothing. No, that's
you just
awful.
like you just like full hopped or something and missed it. And
I
was
probably
like, oh.
just missed an input then.
Yeah, you got it later.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, thank goodness.
That's funny.
That was the only thing I noticed, like you not doing, and then beyond that, I mean, your description, as much as it's me tooting my own horn, I think it is pretty accurate that he just kind of never made mistakes and did the things in the matchup that, you know, we kind of know at this point are good. You pound them in situations where they can't reasonably block it, or is sort of like a timing mix-up, and you separate them and you kill Nana and
yeah, his Nana kills
smash
were perfect.
Sopo.
Yeah, his Nanas were perfect. I could get them.
So it was really just kind of like seeing, okay, there's nothing special here. It's just not making any mistakes whatsoever.
And that was that was the. I'm sorry. Keep going.
Did you wobble him at all?
I don't think I wobbled him a single time. I actually don't think I did. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess that's just a testament to he made it really hard to get your hands on him.
Yeah, the only other thing I took away from it was instead of engaging in spot dodge wars, he dared. Like after the first spot dodge, he would jump dare, and it would beat me it'd beat my spot dodge every time. It was really smart.
Yeah.
So after that was the point where I knew I was going to have a really weird bracket because Chillin' Dude on Smash GG was supposed to make it to losers finals or wherever against me to make it to play for next day. I knew that wasn't going to happen because he was supposed to play Jam Run, who was a Peach from Canada, who I'd had a lot of trouble with in friendlies at Gommel. So I was like, I'm probably going to lose a Peach. But thankfully, Chillin' Dude beat Toussaint. So instead of Chillin' Dude being in losers, Toussaint was in losers, and he destroyed Jam Run, just dominated him. So I was like, yes, I know I can beat Toussaint. Because I had done it last year in a money match at SmashCon. But I was so nervous because I felt just like last year where I knew it was a match I could win against...
Wait, you money matched him at SmashCon last year?
Uh-huh, yeah, I beat him 3-2.
Oh, that's really funny.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sort of a side story, but around that time, I was talking to Dash, and he was like, yeah, Toussaint money matched Bananas, and he just destroyed him by doing nothing but Rising Pounds.
Interesting.
And I was like, I guess maybe I should do more of that. And it's just funny because of how this tournament shook out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so I
I
was super nervous going into this one. She helped me out, kind of calmed me down a little bit. But this was the kind of match where every time I took a stock, like if either of us did, we both like kind of mini popped off. Like it was pretty like degenerate how much we both wanted that. But I ended up taking it. And I was so happy. It was probably the best I've ever felt after a win before. I definitely basically skipped around the venue.
You did literally.
I skipped
you
around
fist
the
bumped
venue.
him and you skipped away like a.
I did, like a schoolgirl. Oh, I was pumped. I don't care. I was so happy. I just needed a second to pop off to myself, and
I mean, you deserved it because that was really, I think, that was solidified top 100 this year.
I think it will. I hope it does.
I mean, if it doesn't, we're gonna riot.
That's 2 times as many top 100 wins as I had last year.
Yeah, but NMW won some locals, so
Yeah, he did win so many matches before.
There's some
see.
MDVA players who got top 3 at the cave.
I'm not gonna try to expect it yet because I know what can happen, but I think I have a good shot.
Are you going to DreamHack?
I am going to DreamHack, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
We'll just, pick up 3 or 4 more top 100 wins
easy,
there, and then it's no question.
Easy. And then day 3, I had another pretty good pool where I had to play Papa and Icy's main from Ohio. And I had warmed up with Bananas for about 45 minutes before that set. And it's funny because he did not play anything like Bananas, and it really threw me off. Because Bananas was beating my playstyle, so I had to switch playstyles against him. But then I was like, wait, no, I need to revert back to how I was playing. And once I realized that versus Papa, it was fine. Like he beat me pretty solidly the first game, and then I won the next 3 games pretty easily.
So what you're saying is you're responsible for Bananas beating Plop.
Correct. I did tell him, I said, hey, look, I really think you can beat Plop because I played him at CEO, and I'm very bad at that matchup, and I should have at least had 1 game, almost 2 of them. He's like, really? I said, yes. I said, go in with confidence in this matchup, and he destroyed Plop. It was not even close.
Wow.
It was bad.
It was Samus Fox, right?
Mm-hmm. It was bad.
Jeez.
So yeah, I beat Papa, and then I had to play Lod. Who I 3-1'd him. Totally the one match was not his Yoshi or anything like that. It totally wasn't his Yoshi. So I lost 3-1 to him with his Peach and Yoshi, but I did not lose to Yoshi, thank gosh. And that was my tournament. So yeah, I lost a Hungry Box and Lod, which I can't complain about. Got 33rd.
Really, that's most people playing your character would lose to those two
I don't
people.
I think Army's the only one who could possibly beat Lod of the Ice Climbers. But I think every Ice Climber would have got my placing with my bracket. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, it was a great run, and it was really fun seeing you, skip away from that setup.
I'm glad that no one else mentioned that beforehand. I was like, yeah, I definitely just kind of did that. But no, I was pumped. I definitely skipped.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely earned that. You had the right to skip merrily away.
Because last year was so depressing, just missing it. So this year it was extra sweet getting that.
Yeah.
You want to take a video of the skipping?
No, thank gosh.
No, Colin was streaming like day 1 and then just didn't after.
I think
that.
he asked me if he wanted to, and I said no. Sometimes that like kind of it gets in my head a little bit, so I was kind of happy
yeah.
to stream it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Speaking of 33rd, also, we had another 33rd placement with you and Time
Ah,
Bombers.
yeah. So Colin and I teamed at this event. We played Marth Puff, which is awful. It is so bad. I cannot explain to
How do you-
people how
But
bad
Marth
this
grabs
team is.
across the stage and Puff kills off of grab.
Right, but that's it.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
one
all.
thing the team
Yeah,
has
just the
going
one
for
hit
it.
KO. Man, what a bummer.
So we felt like we really tried to game plan this going in. Like, all right, we just need to cheese people because we have nothing else. And this plays to Colin's strengths, obviously, and his preferences. So he was like, we're working out like, okay, so here are the level 1 gimmicks. And once those stop working, we have the level 2 gimmicks. And then once those stop working, we have the super advanced level 3 gimmicks. So it was really fun trying to like figure out a new team, even though we knew it was bad, just because it felt like uncharted territory, you know, like there aren't really VODs to watch. This has never been done at top level. So we played, I think we did not drop a game to anyone except the teams we lost to. So we played Armada Android. Easy, right? But what was really interesting about that was they space at that range where they want to like ping pong you. But the thing is, if Colin is in the corner spamming grab and gets one of them, they're too far away to help each other. So we got like 5 grab rests or something stupid the first game, and we had a lead. And then they were like, wait a minute, let's not let that happen anymore. And they're the kind of team where you play them and it never really feels like you're down by that much. And then you just realize like, oh, we have no chance of winning this because we're like down to our last stocks or whatever. So they're just really efficient at getting kills, but they never feel like they're overwhelming you. It's kind of just like, oh, I got ping pong fox up aired, okay, or oh, Colin got shine spiked. Like that's gonna happen, but then that's kind of all that happens, and then you just lose. So, it's always fun to play really good teams like that though, and just kind of see what's possible within the format. Um, So we lost to them, and then to get out of pools, we played this double Fox team that I'm not kidding. They only up throw, up aired, and up smashed. It was like the proverbial Fox double Fox just abusing Fox privilege kind of team. And Colin won a 1v1 to win game 1, which was super clutch. And then I kind of just realized game 2, like, you know what? I'm not going to get up smashed. And I think we 5-stocked them on Yoshi's story, which was weird that they took us there.
That
but,
is strange. I agree.
Yeah. Or no, sorry, that wasn't to get out. To get out, we played Duck and Siffy Chan, who I believe is Duck's girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
And that was, sorry to say, super easy. I mean, that was just Sheik Samus, which is bad, and then as good as Duck is, it's kind of hard to carry a team like that as Samus.
Especially as Samus. It's like the most
Yeah.
least carryable character, or
Yeah.
able to carry.
And I mean, that team really can't save each other from grab rest. So, we beat them to get out. Our round 1 is Drugged Fox Wenbo, which seems like it's really hard, but Drug Fox did come to NC to visit for a while, and I played a lot of teams with him, and I was like, I actually kind of have a decent idea of what he's going to do to me or not do to me. And then Wenbo, who's pretty good, is definitely prone to kind of just like Unga Bunga killing himself, which did happen a few times. So Colin and I were thinking, like, really, this isn't a bad draw. Like, there'd be a lot worse kind of teams we'd have to play immediately. And we lost 2-1. It was very, very doable.
Yes, very. I actually watched that entire set. It was a fun set to watch. Game 1, y'all kind of just got flat out beat. But game 2,
yeah, we got destroyed game 1.
Game 2 though, y'all whopped them. And then game 3 was very back and forth. The biggest thing about game 3 was just y'all didn't finish your food. Much. That was the biggest thing.
Yeah, they were because they took us back to Yoshi's story, and they were just living a lot. There was this one really funny moment where like Drug Fox is Sheik on the ledge, and he hits Wenbo, who's Fox. He's doing some kind of like ledge stall thing and hits Wenbo. He thinks Wenbo is just gonna tech, And so then he gets on stage and throws a full stack of needles, which ends up jab resetting Wenbo and kind of locking him because it's like a full stack of needles. And meanwhile, I'm respawning. And so I just drift down and like rest this extended needle reset. And that was kind of like a lot of our advantages sort of came from moments like that, I felt, but you kind of have to as Marth Puff.
For sure.
So it was fun to play them, but I was really proud of how we played. I did not think we were going to do very well just because I thought the team comp was so bad that if we ran into Peach Sheik or Double Fox that we had no chance. But being a Double Fox team, even if they were kind of unga bunga, felt good. And then we money matched Ostentatious and Baka twice, and they played Peach Sheik, and we lost both sets, but it was game 5, and it really felt like we did have some things going for us. But that matchup is just so bad. So overall,
teaming with Marth is a very interesting ordeal.
I mean, it's funny because like I would play this team with Colin again. I had a lot of fun, and I was really proud of how we did. But it's just, it is so bad. It is so rough sometimes. So I think that's. I don't know if how you and Gato did in doubles or how Roma and Hennessy did.
That's not what we're talking about for us.
All right. Tylenol did not enter doubles, so I guess we were kind of the only notable one there. But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed it.
And before we go on with more stuff about the tournament, speaking of results, there was one other day that we had a tournament, like a pre-tournament tournament, that I just want to touch on real quick. It was like some college tournament in some room. And a bunch of players from Big House just kind of showed up for this 90-man tournament.
Yeah, it was a $3 entry, 90-man local that was essentially unseeded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you had to play Magi first, like the first round basically, and you beat her 2-1 or 2-0.
It's 2-0.
2-0, yeah.
I played friendlies with her later on at Big House, and it was kind of more of the same thing. She's really good, but I think she just doesn't really know how to play against Puff. It's kind of just getting away with things that, like against Hostile Gato, for instance, I would never get away with.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I do really like her style. It's fun. I played her. I played Bonk Cushy, who's a Pikachu. Puff Pikachu is just so bad for Pikachu. I mean, I felt bad, but I was just like, if I just don't let you up smash me, then you can't win. And I played Triff and got 3-0'd. I could have won game 1 because he dash attacked my shield last stock and I didn't rest. But I just like, it was just this grind of like being perpetually outspaced. And it's frustrating because it feels like there isn't a specific thing to work on there. It's like you just have to be better.
Yeah. That's kind of a demoralizing feeling where it's like, wow, I just have to get better to beat this guy.
I mean, that's the nature of that matchup, I guess. And I still don't, I've never really felt like I've been good at Puff Peach, except for kind of right at the tail end of when Jimmy and Stingers were here. And then once they quit, it's like I never played it. So maybe there are matchup specific things I'm just not aware of. But I lost to him, and then I lost to Bambi, who's a young Link. I was playing pretty tilted, and he just ran away and was young Link and threw bombs at me. So was definitely not in a good place to handle that. But I don't know. I have kind of mixed feelings about that sort of like the pre-major
Oh, it was
local.
super fun because you don't have to take it that seriously because no one cares. So it was just good practice to me. Like I got to play over Triforce, and he 3-2'd me in a really fun set.
That seemed really doable.
Oh, it was. There's some stuff about that I should have won, but like I don't really care that much because it didn't matter at all. So yeah, and then I just DQ'd out of losers because we wanted to head out and get some food.
See, I should have DQ'd. I should have just not played Bambi.
But no, it was fun. I got a lot of good practice, and it was neat to see so many players. I just think those environments are like so much more special sometimes. They just feel so Smash community-esque. That's why I wanted. That's why I kind of wanted to point on it, just because I thought it was kind of a highlight, honestly, because I never got to go to those pre-event events. It was nice to finally get to go to one. So it was fun. But other things you wanted to touch on regarding the tournament, one of the first things and one of the most talked about things were the Arduinos that they had.
Yes. Um, so for the most part, they were really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I did hear some stories about people saying like, "Oh, my controller's not working with it, and there's no good reason why." Or some people saying if you unplug too fast, it short circuits it, and then
Oh,
all inputs kind of die for a second while it resets. That wouldn't matter in a tournament set, but playing friendlies with people, they'd just be like, "Oh, my controller's not working," and then suddenly it's back to normal.
mm.
Um, but given that Nintendo is just dead set on preventing this community from having anything good for any reason, I think this is a really good workaround.
I agree.
Uh,
I loved them.
yeah, I just obviously memory card with UCF is better, but since we can't have that, since we're not allowed to do that, this is very much the next best thing, and I was a big fan of it. There was like one thing about if you use back to ledge dash, it kind of messes with that.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't quite
I don't
understand how that is.
I don't do that, so that didn't affect me, so I can't comment on like whether that was an issue or not. But the dash back and shield drop felt just like UCF,
Hmm.
so I was a big fan.
One thing that no one talked about that much, that to me was actually the biggest deal about it, was the rumble on the Arduinos is extremely strong. Um,
Oh yeah, that's
it's
right.
it's wild actually how strong. Like when I first plugged in, I was like, "Whoa, there's something wrong," and then I said, "Wait, no, this is what rumble's supposed to feel like." Is that all these GameCubes get like so weak, the ports get so weak. I guess is how it works. That just the Arduino rumble was so strong. And I actually got really used to it. I was like, "Whoa, this feels so good," because I love Rumble. And then when I went back to play on the GameCube, I was like, "This is so weak. It doesn't feel nearly as good." So I actually prefer the Arduinos to UCF just for that one reason, because it feels the rumble on it is so strong.
That's
So
kinda
it was
funny.
pretty neat. So yeah,
And they had them on literally every setup.
yeah, there was never an issue with not having an Arduino ever. It wasn't like how there's the UCF or the memory cards and you had to get someone from something else. No, they were always available, always. So they did a great job with that.
Was there anything stopping you from just like ripping one off a setup and taking it with you?
People watching, probably. Like I actually thought about that. I was like, how hard would this be to do? And I kind of looked around. I said, this would actually be difficult, just because there's so many friendlies going on. There's never a point to just take an Arduino. It was unless it was like in the middle of the night would be the only way to do it.
Yeah, because they did have 24-hour venue. So.
Wasn't there a story where someone did do that? But I don't know much. I did hear that
I didn't
someone
hear
stole
about it.
one, but I don't know anything about it.
That's funny.
Next,
Security was tight-ish at the event.
yeah, it was pretty
I don't
tight,
know.
which I'm happy about. But there's some interesting stories regarding that I probably don't want to touch on in here. The next topic of discussion we want to talk about was something near and dear to my heart, which is IC's doing well in bracket, thus causing the band wobbling discussion to come up again.
There were 9 ICs
Nine
in top 64,
ICs
right?
in top 64, which is pretty nuts. Some of those included IC dual mains such as Flipsy and Quang. Flipsy,
Is Flipsy a dual
I don't know.
main?
he
Dude,
says
really?
he is, and he like wins locals with going only Fox and things like that. And he went Fox in tournament, and also went Marth. But yeah, he's definitely more of an ICs. But he kind of is a dual main. And Quang is 100% a dual main.
Yeah, I'll give Quang that, but
But I understand why you would say Flipsy's not.
yeah.
It's totally fair.
But yeah, that I thought so obviously we've already had an episode on wobbling
Yeah.
and
Well, I don't think we have on this podcast. That's
the arguments it's the same thing that's been regurgitated forever in favor and against it. So rather than touch on that, I think it's really interesting that people say, "Oh, Ices did well. We should ban wobbling."
Yeah,
'Cause
that's
the
kind of
implication there
frustrating.
is like these guys didn't earn these wins, which I mean, that's an opinion you can have, and that's fine. But there was no one on Twitter. People were just like, all these Ices making top 64 that like didn't deserve those placings. But no one would say like, yeah, Banana shouldn't have gotten fifth. Like they wouldn't name specific people they thought didn't deserve to do well.
That'd be
So it
funny if you
kinda-
just called people out and were like, "Yo, you shouldn't have gotten this."
Well, I mean, because that I think is a little more substantive than when you say like, see, this person who I don't think deserves this placing got this placing through these upsets that were because of wobbling.
Mm.
Because everyone will say like, it makes this sort of like straw man of the proverbial Icy's main who does nothing but wobble and has no fundamentals doing well. But then when you bring up specific players, they're like, oh no, but Bananas is really good. Or like, no, Flipsy has like a really good game sense. He wins locals with Fox or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's like, when you bring up a specific player trying to say like, well, who are these ice climbers that are getting these wins they don't deserve? No one will sort of ever say, well, it's this guy. Obviously, like, look at him. He shouldn't be doing this well. It's just because of wobbling. So I find it a little harder for me personally to be convinced that like, oh, there were 9 ices in top 64. That means we have a wobbling problem.
And I'd say probably the ICs who people would say who the most would be Quang, though in my opinion he could make top 64 without his ice climbers. I really do.
I know, that dude is good.
He's good. He is legit very good at the game. And Papa probably is not as well known as some other players. He beat Bobby Frizz to make it out. But all the other ICs are decently well known, I'd say.
I think also part of this was you saw the Flipsy Lucky set, right?
Yeah, of course.
That game 2 was just to recap. Like Flipsy dropped a wobble. Lucky was at very high percent last stock, and I think Flipsy was not at that high percent.
No,
and then Lucky brought it back.
Flipsy freaked. Like you saw him, he was just going for down smashes at the end. I know how that feels. It's awful. But yeah, like I'm not here to ban or like argue whether wobbling should be banned or not. I totally get both sides of the argument. I just wish that it wouldn't only happen because ICs do well. Like it's kind of frustrating that like ICs do well, and then all of a sudden it's like, man, I kind of hope ICs don't do well, so I don't have to worry about seeing this conversation again.
It's almost like if you want to ban wobbling, if there's like legit reasons to do it, it should have already happened. It should not depend on how well the character does. It's just
especially now that UCF's a thing. Like, if anything, we've advanced further away from the point where wobbling should be banned.
Execution testing, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't think anything is going to change. I think this will just happen anytime an ice climber does well at a tournament.
We'll see. I mean, there's some people talking. We'll see what some future. I think there's going to be a tournament or two upcoming in the future in 2019 that might ban wobbling.
If they banned it at certain tournament, because Big House didn't allow. The great irony of this is that this happened at Big House. That was one of the last holdouts.
Got ninth still.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I mean, maybe experiment with. But the thing is if you have tournaments where there's no wobbling, that basically just means ice climbers will not go to that tournament.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's like essentially banning ice climbers.
Yeah, because unless all of wobbling was banned, there's no reason I'm going to go to a tournament and risk something like doing badly. You like having to play a punish game that is that like I know, but I don't play in tournament. When I could just go to one that I do every tournament.
Also, like if you lose that tournament, if you don't do well that tournament, it's just be like, oh my god, you just got carried by wobbling.
There's no, it's just so
which is
risky.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
it's
so
like
risky.
It's like you're at a strict disadvantage and you did worse. Like clearly that's because you're bad.
Yeah. And again, I understand the arguments against it. I really do. Like sometimes I sit there and I'm like, I hate this. Like I was watching Cool Lime versus over Triforce just a bit ago, and I was like, yeah, this is really lame. Like this is.
Do you think Cool Lime deserved to win that set?
I'll put it this way: over Triforce deserved to lose it the way he was playing. That's how I word that.
Good save.
But yeah, I mean, I totally get it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess we'll see how that pans out. But for now...
that's a different that's another conversation. Next point is the top 64, top 8 spectating experience. Top 8's at Big House. I don't think I've ever sat and watched a full top 8, and this year was no exception. But this year was because I got sick and left.
Yeah. Tyler was kind of dying.
Yeah, I was actually dying. I got a total of 2 or 3 hours of sleep the last night there. That was not fun. I sat in the bathroom watching VODs for an hour because I couldn't sleep.
I watched the whole top 8 because I was gambling with Colin.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Oh, of course.
It was fun sitting beside Bananas though when we were watching who was it, Zane and Absent Page, because if Zane won, Bananas was in Summit, and so Colin kept teasing him, let's go Absent Page. It was pretty funny.
Yeah. I thought the top 8 was pretty good, other than Hungry Box just winning.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guess that's not that unexpected at this point, but other than that, some decent sets.
Well, I think people say, like, none of them went to Game 5, and even the ones that went to Game 4, like, aside from Mango Leffen, none of them were particularly exciting.
Yeah, they were pretty boring. And again,
Yeah,
they
maybe
took
it was
away,
the Mango Leffen set.
yeah, they took away setups again. Big House is so notorious for that. It's so frustrating. I just want to play friendlies during top 8, and I could not.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna start like scheduling my flights to leave on Sunday night
Yeah.
because I don't really care about watching it live. I mean, there's always VODs, and the whole having to get up really early on Monday morning and go to the airport just kind of kills me inside.
That's
So
funny. I didn't mind that much, but yeah. Top 64 is always the best part of Big House when you get all these good players that aren't on stream and you get to watch them, like West Boss versus PPU, which was a fantastic set to watch. And just others like that, you just walk around. It's like, oh, there's 2 top 50 players playing each other. No one's watching this. I got to go watch this. It's awesome. Top 64 Big House as a spectator is like legit one of the best things to do. Get there at 10 o'clock, watch the sets, have a lot of fun. Cannot recommend that enough.
and then beyond that, overall tournament experience stuff. I liked it. I mean, there was
Yeah,
an
had a
ultimate
great
demo
time.
that I didn't play, but it was there.
I played it like 5 times again.
There were really good controller vendors. I got some custom buttons that I really like, and
Shout
I
outs.
got to
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
yeah,
Keep going.
those multi-shine.
Yeah, Multi-Shine
customs.
Designs. Multi-Shine
Yeah.
Designs. Shout outs to them. The guy that worked with was super nice to me. Helped me out. Got my controller ready for the tournament. I usually don't mod it, but they helped me with my triggers.
There were a bunch of Weeb arcade games.
Yeah, they were
fun. And then the venue itself, like outside of the main room, was actually pretty nice.
I don't know what it was about this year compared to last year because I was not a fan of the venue last year. The venue was the same place, just in a different room. And I think
Yeah.
it was just the way they set up the venue this year felt a lot better.
It did. Well, I wasn't there last year, but
I was
thought
pretty
the setup
disappointed
was
last
good.
year, and the setup was good this year. Big House, though, is funny because it's like one of the least vendor-heavy tournaments. Big House is so much about playing Melee.
there were so many controller vendors.
There
though.
were, yeah, which is like kind of the hardcore vendors, I guess you could say, like the
Right.
real. So it was not about like the casual experience. I will not recommend this tournament to more casual players. I recommend this to fiends. This is a very much fienders
Yes.
tournament,
It is a fiend.
and I always get like in such a mood every time I go to Big House to fiend. I'm like, oh yeah, this is awesome.
Yeah. 24-hour venue, tons of friendly setups.
Mhm.
I don't know if it was the most I have ever seen, but was never not able to play.
Yeah, usually you're able to get on a 2-person setup and make it a 3-man. That was very about what I did every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got a lot of good practice this time too. Had a lot of
And
awesome-
really, like downtown Detroit, for as much of a meme as Detroit is in the general culture, it wasn't that bad.
It's
Didn't
aight.
mind it.
It's
Yeah,
aight.
I know, but given what the
But Detroit is
reputation
known
it
for
has,
yes, of course.
it was very very
Expensive.
it was
It was
very
expensive.
expensive. It was very expensive. So
Yeah, Big
yeah,
House. Is such a
I don't
good
know if I'm
tournament.
gonna go next year.
Oh,
I want
I'll
to.
100% go again. I'll go every year. It's just
This
a good
was-
tournament.
Yeah, it was a really good tournament. I think it was like a really rough trip for me personally for some other reasons, but
Sure.
I think for a Melee player trying to improve at Melee, it
This
a
is
very
the
good-
tournament to go to for it. The tournament.
Yeah. So anything else?
I think that covered it. That was a pretty long segment, but I enjoyed talking about Big House. It was a lot of fun.
All right, let's move on.
Okay.
This is the game show segment, an ongoing battle of wits between Graham and Tyler. Every episode, I create a game for them to play, somehow related to Melee, and we'll see who wins. The lifetime score stands at Graham with 3.5 and Tyler with 2.5. So last time, Graham avoided the reverse 3-0 in a game of trying to name Melee moves. That might have been almost entirely RNG. This time, we're going to play a game about Arcadian results to stick to the theme of the episode.
Oh, God.
So, I'm going to tell you the results of. I'm going to tell you the results of a player. I'll tell you how they placed at each of the 5 Arcadians, or if they didn't enter, or if they were ineligible because they got PR'd.
And we had to name
And
who it
you
is.
have to name who it is.
That's pretty good. Okay, okay.
Ooh.
I think this will be
Very
very
interesting. Okay.
It'll start out easy. I expect towards the end, like, this might be almost impossible, but we'll see. You guys have surprised me in the past before, both in good and bad ways. So, if there's no questions, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first person, Arcadian 1, they got 13th. Arcadian 2, they got 2nd. And then Arcadians 3 through 5, they were ineligible because they were PR'd.
Oh, you had to type this out too. I was about to say this out loud.
And as always, if you guys need me to repeat results, just let me know. Or I guess rather repeat the prompts.
I am just trying to find you on Messenger.
Oh, this is a sign we don't talk enough.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. There we go.
Oh, it's fine. I know you're very popular, Tyler. You have too many friends to...
Oh, yeah, because I always respond to people on Messenger all the time. I'm so good about that.
Alrighty, so this one shouldn't have been too bad. Graham?
Gato?
Yep, this has got
Yep, it was Gato. Yeah, so score is 1-1. Again, next one shouldn't be too bad. So this person got 9th at the first Arcadian, 9th at the second Arcadian, 2nd at the third Arcadian, and then they were PR'd for the 4th and 5th Arcadians. So I realize I'm saying like lots of numbers, and it's probably going to get very confusing later on. Okay, Graham.
Dash.
Yep, dash.
It was Dash. Okay, so now I'll stop talking about people who got top 2 at Arcadians. So score is 2-2. The next one, they got 65th at the first Arcadian, 17th at the second Arcadian. They did not enter the third one. They got 25th at the fourth Arcadian and got 5th at the most recent Arcadian.
Oh gosh, you got 5th.
Now things get interesting.
Ah,
You know,
man,
I feel like
not
maybe I
sure
should have made
know
these
these.
multiple choice because you guys are. This one might take a while.
I don't think I'm right on this one.
Okay, Graham.
Zephyrs.
That's probably right. I said Twisty.
It was Zephyrs.
Okay, did Twisty got
Twisty?
7th, right?
No, Twisty got 17th.
Oh, did he? For some reason, This is really bad. Obviously, I was not paying attention during our Arcadian segment.
And it's fine. You're the PR bourgeois. Like you've been the PR bourgeois for a while. You need to
What
pay
is-
attention
okay,
to.
Yeah.
What Arcadians did you play in?
I have never been to an Arcadian before.
Wow.
In fact, weren't you PR'd? I'm pretty sure he was PR'd before the first Arcadian.
Yeah,
So
that is right.
Oh, must be nice.
Grady. So Graham is up 3-2. So next, this person did not enter the first 2 Arcadians. And then I think this one's sort of interesting. They got 7th at the third Arcadian, 9th at the fourth Arcadian, and 17th at the 5th Arcadian. So, like, oddly enough, they did pretty well, but their results kind of went downhill. Okay, Graham.
Pelipper?
I also said Pelipper.
It is Pelipper. You did not have to spell it correctly to get full credits.
Okay. Did I spell that right?
I think you spelled it right.
Yes.
No offense, but I think Pelipper is a really dumb Pokemon, so I couldn't care less.
Oh.
Okay, so Graham is up 4-3. Next up, this person got 25th at the first Arcadian, 49th at the second Arcadian, did not enter the third one, got 5th at the fourth Arcadian, and then they were PR'd for the 5th Arcadian. This one's just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, that is
Graham.
interesting.
Graham?
I said Time Bones.
This is Tylenol.
It is actually Time Bones.
Is it?
Tylenol.
What? I thought this was
Tylenol is
Tylenol.
not eligible to enter the fourth Arcadian because he
Oh,
got
I got them
PR'd
mixed
shortly
up.
after the third
Oh,
one.
fourth one was that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was getting the third and the fourth mixed up. Bummer.
I think there's also like not to bring drama back up. There's also a little bit of drama between Colin and the third Arcadian, so it was also a little bit of a hint for that one.
Oh, that's right.
So
I remember that now.
so yeah, Graham is up 5-3. Graham has yet to miss one. We'll see if this
Mm.
changes. Do we give Graham like bonus points if he manages to get all of these?
No.
I should get some kind of recognition.
I will give you a round of applause.
Give you like a 0.01 extra point.
He's gonna have 0.6.
Okay. Next up, this person got 7th at the first Arcadian, 17th at the second, 17th at the third, 7th at the fourth. Did not enter the fifth. So very consistently,
Wow,
like
what?
if you saw the results on the slot machine, you'd be winning a lot of money. Kind of results. If you ignore the ones in the 17s.
Can you repeat those results?
Yes. It goes 7th, 17th, 17th, 7th. Did not enter.
I'm sorry. Give me those one more time.
Yes. 7th, 17th, 17th, 7th. Did not enter. From first to fifth.
Oh my gosh.
I feel like once you hear this
7th
one,
at
you'll
the
like.
First one. Oh, I think I know it.
All right, Graham.
Mr. Ben Ready.
Yep.
It was Mr. Benready. Started off with the legendary GR Smash Clip, and
Yeah.
very consistently placed at placings ending in 7.
I had to think about who was at 7th in the first Arcadian, and then it hit me. I was like, ah, that's right.
Okay, so Graham is up 6-4, I believe. I might be bad at math. I'll figure that out. Anyway, next up is they got 33rd. See, I'm gonna mess this up. They got 33rd at the first Arcadian. Did not enter the second one. Got 7th at the third one, and then they were PR'd for the fourth and fifth. Also, yeah, Graham is up 64. I just cannot count for the life of me, or divide by 3.
Say those one more time. I'm sorry.
Yes, 33rd at the first Arcadian,
think I know
did
this.
not enter the second, got 7th at the third one, and then they were PR'd for the fourth and fifth. All right, Graham.
Tizzle Fix.
Yeah, Tizzle. Yep.
It was Tizzle. Yeah, no, let's just say there.
To be clear, though, he wasn't PR'd for the fourth and fifth one. He was just ineligible, as he was no longer PR'd.
I don't
What?
think that's how that works, Graham. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah,
Graham.
I'm
but,
sorry, Graham. That was.
You
really
said he.
bad.
You said
That-
he.
he was PR'd at a point, therefore he cannot enter the Arcadian.
Ah, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like
No,
how he
was just-
technically wasn't PR'd, but then he was PR'd, and then I don't know.
Well, yeah, there was
Anyway.
that too. Forgot about that.
Very huge hissy. Anyway, so Graham is up 7-5. Next up, this person got they're placing very consistently divided by 2. They got 65th at the first one, 33rd at the second one, 17th at the third one, 9th at the fourth one, and then they didn't enter the fifth one.
Oh,
So who is
That's
this
rough.
paragon of improvement?
Oh my gosh,
damn.
this one's tough.
Yeah.
Who has improved like that?
So they got 9th at the fourth one.
Yes.
I mean, the fourth one just seems like it was
Damn.
forever away.
Oh, who was
I'm
that?
trying to remember. I remember watching people play for that position.
It is kind
I
of crazy to me that
cannot
there's been
think
like 5
who it
Arcadians since I
was.
started playing because they were all like they all felt like they were a year apart, but I haven't been playing
Yeah.
for 5 years.
They have felt like they're forever apart. Man,
Also, like the top eights are just so drastically different at most of them.
Shot in the dark, I guess.
this is really difficult. What the heck? Did not go to the fifth one. Went to the fourth one. Who is that? Who didn't go to the fifth one?
Should like get the audio bot and start playing Jeopardy theme music during this.
I don't even have a good guess for this. What the heck?
I can't say. Sorry.
I know this isn't right, but I'm just gonna throw it out there.
I mean, I
don't
want to
have
let you
another
take your time,
answer.
but like you know, we
yeah,
have.
no, that's fine. I don't have an answer. Like this is the closest thing I have.
Okay, Graham.
C-Mac?
That's a good. Oh man, I put Bearju, but I know it's not him.
It is CMAC.
Let's
So
Let's
That was
go.
really good.
Graham keeps up the perfect streak. He is up
That's nuts.
8-5.
Can I possibly
okay.
win at this point?
I still have 7 more.
Yes,
So
I
Oh my
can win.
goodness.
it'll be hard though. Like these, I think the next 7 are all very out there. Okay, so next up, this person got 9th at the first Arcadian, 5th at the second Arcadian, and then they did not enter
Yeah,
any Arcadians after that.
I know who this is.
Were they ineligible?
No, they just did not enter.
It's funny. I actually thought about this person before the game even started. I was like, I think
Okay.
this person's gonna be on here. If this
Yeah,
is it,
it's-
if this is it, because I'm almost certain it is.
Graham?
Nanus.
Yeah, it's Emerson.
Yes, Nanus with 2 O's is correct.
I spoke with him at TFC. He has not changed
I
at
thought
all.
he spoke with you.
Yeah, that was pretty much how it went. He has not changed at all. At all. For those who knew Emerson, no change.
Shout out to Emerson.
I don't know if that's entirely surprising, but okay, so Graham is up
Emerson,
9 to
yeah.
6. The next person, they got 5th at the first Arcadian, 7th at the second one, and then they were PR'd for the remaining Arcadians. Or I guess since Graham's like really finicky about this, they were ineligible because they made PR.
You said 5th
So-
and then 7th?
5th and then 7th, and then ineligible for the next 3.
Hmm. Hmm. That one's hard.
I think if I'm right, I don't know. We'll see how this goes.
Also, I'm kind of worried, like, technically someone could have gotten, like, technically 2 different people could have had these results, but
Oh,
I don't-
really?
I think I checked all these.
Because there's multiple, like 2 people get 5th.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
really
yeah.
to have happened though. That'd be pretty
Yeah.
rare.
Okay, Graham.
I said red.
I said Jaeger.
Ooh, so Jaeger did get 5th at the first Arcadian.
Oh,
That was a really good guess.
No, I
but-
can't believe that's not right. I thought for sure I had that.
He did not enter the second one, as far as I know. This was GCS.
Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, that was my other guess.
Man, I swear I thought that this was Jaeger.
Jimmy was also a good guess because I don't think he didn't enter the first, but he did like do well the second and then not show up to anything after that, or not like he was PR'd for the rest of them. So
Right.
okay, so Graham did not ace this round, but he still has a pretty hefty lead at 9 to 6. So Tyler, you're gonna need to work really hard to even win, much less tie. Next up, this person got 7th at the first Arcadian, and then they were ineligible for the remaining 4.
Jeez.
Actually, this might be good for Tyler because Graham probably knows nothing about the first
Yeah,
Arcadian or how it
I
went.
mean,
The first is a classic. While Graham is thinking about this, I'm just going to bring this back where we got kicked out of the venue because it ran so late. So it went to someone's house.
I think Dylan's apartment. They ran
Dylan's
on the
apartment,
porch.
and they played top whatever it was in Dylan's apartment.
It was like they streamed it too. Like
Yeah.
Dylan and Emerson were commentating
It
like
was
5 feet away
It
from
was
the TV.
wild. It was wild. Talk about like, yeah, very
Okay.
very funny.
Graham.
I said safe.
I said Waylon.
I was really confused by the Whalen guys because he
Yeah,
won
what?
the first Arcadian.
Oh, did he win it? I thought he
He
got like.
did.
I knew he got top 8. I forgot he had won it. I
he
thought
he won from
Oh,
losers.
That's
so,
right. That's right. Yeah,
Uh,
this might be.
this one was slip and slide actually.
Oh.
Okay.
Forgot about slip. Damn.
Yeah, I think he, Whalen, and Sprankles all got PR'd from that top 8. So, Whalen and Sprankles also were ineligible for the next 4 Arcadians. But the giveaway was that unlike Whalen and Sprankles both did really well, and Slip did not. He didn't do bad, but he got 7th was, Anyway. Graham is still up 9 to 6. So there are 4 more. So Graham needs to get all of these wrong, and Tyler needs to get all of these right in order for Tyler to win. Let's see if it will happen. This next person, they got 17th at the first Arcadian. They did not enter the second Arcadian, and then they were ineligible for 3 through 5. So again, 17th did not enter, ineligible, ineligible, ineligible.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah, this one's admittedly a huge curveball, but
The didn't enter the second one, and then they were ineligible for the third one.
All right, so Tyler was the decisive one this time.
Uh,
The last couple I've been pretty fast on.
Well, yeah, but also your this answer and the previous answer gave me 3 question marks.
Yeah, because I have no idea. I'm too busy watching the last stock of Triff versus Absent Page, which is really gross.
All right, Graham, what's your answer?
I said safe again.
I also said safe.
This one was safe.
Yes.
It's like not too surprising, but it was definitely very hard to think of, I think. Okay, so Graham solidifies at least a tie. He's up 10-7. So Tyler's playing for a tie now. He's playing to be Tyler and not Loosler.
Boo! Wow.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh! Please, just. Oh my gosh.
Okay, another throwback one. 9th at the first Arcadian. Did not enter Arcadians 2 or 3. Got 65th at the 4th one. And then did not enter the 5th one.
What?
Is the 65th through DQs?
They lost at least one game, at least one set. I think they actually.
Oh, wait a minute. I know who this is.
I do not know who this is at all. No way! I cannot believe Absent Page just won that. Oh,
Oh,
what a
okay.
Joke.
I thought
Sorry.
like you had this moment of realization,
No.
like, oh my god, I forgot that first. No, it was just like.
Yeah, I have no idea. Let me see. '65th. I really don't know. I actually have no idea. I'm just throwing this one out again because I actually have no answer.
I like that you at least had like a default answer.
Yeah, this is my default answer.
Okay, Graham.
Tom's.
Oh, what? Is that actually what it is?
It is Tom.
No
Let's
way.
go.
How did you get that?
Because he got 65th at the 4th one. And I was like, who would do well initially and then like do that bad? And I just remembered, oh yeah, he was a 2 seed for some reason.
I
He
just would
didn't
have never
play as
even.
Vayne.
He would not have even come like in my mind.
So yeah, he actually did. I just checked. He did actually like lose both those sets at the 4th Arcadian. So he didn't even DQ out. He just got a solid 65th.
Yeah, because he didn't play Peach.
Oh, I didn't even know that. Okay.
Yeah, but he was a 2 seed for some reason.
Alright.
Wait, Tyler, what did you guess?
Bayer Jew. He's my default.
They all don't know. When Verju's old school, he got 9th at the first Arcadian.
Oh,
Is that
man.
true?
No,
I was about to
I'm
say,
making
what?
that up.
I have no idea how long he's been playing, to be quite honest. As I say, I did not remember that.
Okay, so I believe now Graham is up 11-7. So I have 2 more. We'll do them for fun, but Graham wins. He's now up 4.5, 2.5 lifetime. This next one actually might not be too bad. This person did not enter the first Arcadian, got 3rd at the 2nd one, did not enter the 3rd one, got 17th at the 4th one, and 25th at the 5th one. I had to take a second there to remember what came after 4th.
I'm sorry. Please repeat that one more time.
Yes.
That's
Did not
Mm-hmm.
weird.
enter the first one,
hmm
got 3rd at the 2nd one, did not enter the 3rd one, got 17th at the 4th one, and got 25th at the 5th one.
Oh man, who did Alec play in losers finals
Mm,
of that tournament? He'd probably kill me for not remembering this. Oh,
who were all the people that drowned?
I remember this set because I remember how close it was. Man,
Damn, who would that be?
say that one more
remember-
time. I just remember it being
Yes.
so close.
Ineligible for Arcadian 1, got 3rd at Arcadian 2.
Ineligible.
Ineligible?
Wait.
Or sorry, did not enter. Did not
I was gonna
enter.
say,
My
what?
bad.
Okay.
My fault. My bad. Yeah, as you can tell, I like can't process basic information right now. Did not enter the first one. Got 3rd at the 2nd one. did not enter the third one, got 17th at the fourth one, got 25th at the fifth one. See, I include this one because I'm like, this person got third, but I feel like no one's gonna remember that they got third.
Yeah, because I mean, I certainly don't. Yeah, I don't even know who to.
I don't
guess
think
with
this is
anymore.
right, but I remember. I feel like it was this character, but I don't think this is correct. But I feel like I remember it being that.
Oh no, I know who this is.
All right, Graham.
Murdoch.
Oh, that's right. It's Murdoch, isn't it? Wait, Murdoch went to the fifth Arcadian?
He apparently did.
Yes, he
I remember
did.
that.
Yeah, it was Murdoch.
Wow. I put
Tyler.
I put Captain Planet because I remember there being like 3 Falcons in that top 8 or something wacky like that.
Yeah, it was S-Man, Nanos, and GCS. That was
Okay.
the Falcon
That was the
Arcadian.
Falcon
For sure.
Arcadian. Okay. Yeah,
Alright.
that was very difficult. Goodness.
All right, and then the last one. I think this one's very interesting.
Oh, okay.
49th at the first Arcadian, 17th at the second Arcadian. Did not enter the third one, and then was ineligible due to being PR'd for the fourth and fifth one.
Huh, that's weird. Did not enter the third one.
What were the
I mean,
placements one more time?
49th, 17th, did not enter, ineligible. Also, to be clear, I'm basing this off of the wiki page for whether or not they were ineligible, so
Yeah,
The wiki page, I
have
can
no
vouch for
idea.
that being accurate.
I did have to do a double take for this one, I think, because I think there's like one season where it was labeled winter of the year, and then it was actually like the first season of the year rather than the last season of the calendar year. And that threw me off, but I'm pretty sure this one's correct. All right, Graham,
I said Sidward.
Tyler.
I said David.
This one was David.
Oh yeah,
Whoa.
that's good.
He also apparently entered the first Arcadian as David W, which was
That's pretty funny.
Of course he did.
but just had to like stick to the whole using my name as a tag gimmick. Anyway, Graham won. I think, and I forget. There were a lot of questions. You guys actually did pretty well. I'm very pleasantly surprised. Good job. So yeah, Graham is up now, lifetime 4.5 to 2.5. But you know, we still hopefully have lots of episodes remaining, so we'll see how that changes.
I think we'll be good.
Sounds good.
So yeah, that concludes this episode of 2 Floaties, 1 Wobbler. Huge thanks to Chi for coming on this episode. It was a blast hearing him tell us about his experience. If you would like to congratulate Chi in your own way, you should attend NGSU 1.2 this tournament. I think it is almost at the point where someone gets a $5 discount for
Where
pre-reg.
and
So
when is
I am
it?
going to sign up for that right now.
It is this weekend, right?
Yes, it is
October
this Saturday.
20 at NC State. This one is at Tally, or not in Tally or something. It's at NC State. Don't go to UNC.
Wait, where is it at?
It's at NC State.
No,
Don't go to.
Is it at Tally?
No, it's not at Tally. It's
oh,
at...
really?
just check the Facebook page. We clearly can't be trusted with this information.
Yeah, but
so.
the point is, it's not at UNC, so don't go to UNC.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, the first one is great, so please go to the second one. If only to thank Chi for.
I do know that doubles starts at 1, and
Oh,
doors are at
okay.
11.
Cool. So I will be.
Maybe I should just have a game show segment about NGSU tournament details.
Just be like,
What room number was NGSU 1.2 in?
What is the entry
trying
fee?
to find information about that.
How many minutes? When did the tournament end? What was the projected tournament? Anyway, so yeah, I'm Arun, aka Zent. You can find me on Twitter at Guru Ganesh. I guess we should also shout out Chi's Twitter, which I believe is Chi Just Chi right now.
Sounds about right. I'm Graham, aka Hi-Fi. You can find me on Twitter at HiFiSSBM, and I tweet now. So follow me.
Yeah, your Twitter is pretty funny. And I am Sharks. You can find me Twitch at twitch.tv/sharks_SSB, on Twitter at the same link. And we are Two Floaties, One Wobbler. You can find us on Podbean at Two Floaties, One Wobbler. You can also find us on YouTube and on iTunes, also under the same name. If you do it on iTunes, make sure you go under the podcast store, not the music store. You can find us right there. Subscribe, and you will be notified, or it would automatically show in your iTunes every time that we put a new episode on. So yeah, any last words to say before we end this episode?
Go to
Yeah, well, like-
NCSU.
Yeah, go to NGSU. We'll figure out where it's at NC State. Just don't go to UNC.
That's
Good.
we're talking to you, Brian.
Okay, we'll see you guys soon.
All right. See you later.